Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Breakfast Broadcast with Shami and Laila. This episode is part 2 of episode 1, wherein we will talk about Shami's story and he would share his journey of walking this path of wellness. Yeah, I invite Shami to share his story.
Great, thank you. So, so I've been right now involved with wellness and food and healing, and we have the space Ahimsagram, which also I founded for this reason, to sharing about wellness. And the point is that where did my story start?
Yeah.
That's the question. So basically, I was, there's a long story in that, but I'll start with I was living in Bombay. I had done filmmaking. I was working there. Then I was also going through some emotional turmoil that time. But basically, I was leading a very normal life. And then suddenly I got wheezing issues, which are conventionally called asthma. So, and before that I was fit and fine, and I could spend like from 6 o'clock in the morning to 12 when I would be active and doing all those things. And so when I got that asthma, I met a doctor, and they gave me the inhaler and some medicines, and I took that, and more I was taking it, more dependent I was getting on it. Initially, if I was okay with one puff, then maybe I realized that after some time I needed 2 puffs.
And do you know like the reason of like why did you get asthma in first place?
Yeah, that's now when I think of it, it's not a very unnatural thing for me to get that asthma, because kind of life that I was leading. For example, very simple thing. Very simple culprit can be like I was smoking 20 cigarettes.
20 cigarettes in one day?
In one day.
Wow.
And thanks to ITC and thanks to Goldflake and thanks to all the publicity, I didn't even know what I was doing, And I was so dumb in that sense, and or the system was so strong that it was giving me all this crap, and I didn't go. Everybody knows smoking is bad, but I didn't really understand that how bad it is, like how it would it would be destroying my lungs,
Yeah.
All those chemicals that were going inside.
Yeah. So what was like, if I may have asked that, like how did your regular conventional, like a day in your regular conventional life looked at that time? Like what were you eating? What were your work schedules? Just to give a background.
Actually, if I was living at home, I was doing freelancing, then I was eating still like khichdi or something, which was like more not very toxic. But when I developed asthma, that is the time when I was working in the Bombay film industry also for a few months, maybe 2-3 months only. That time I was going through my emotional stress of my divorce, and in that I didn't know how to deal with it, whom to talk to. There were nobody, people around that, and there was a vulnerability in that, so I was dealing with all that.
Yeah.
And maybe guilt also and things like that. And then the other part, when I was working the shoots, the life was so-called normal. I was smoking, and when I was smoking, I was having tea, or the breakfast would be like, like bread and butter and cheese, and even like keema pav could also be there,
At breakfast.
At breakfast. So which means keema is like meat cut into like really minced meat, and with pav, and pav is made with trans fats. And I didn't know that time this, know. And then the lunch also, there could be non-veg in that, or paneer or oil, and I would not even think where this oil is coming from, what are they being given. It was just a table was laid and we would eat that, and after that I would really feel sleepy also. But anyways, we would continue working. And the other is that when the evening, when there would be a headache or something would come, then I would like take Disprin, So that was the normal thing. And all this when I was doing, I realized that I was developing like toxins inside my body. And then body, when I learned more about it, I understood like why it was happening.
So did you have to did it take you some time to leave your smoking, or how did it happen?
The smoking was very easy to leave because there was a choice between breathing and smoking. So, and then I earlier also had this idea of it's not a great idea to take medicines, but I'm also grateful that when in those crisis times when I had taken the inhaler, it would really give me that life. You know, it would really, I would be also grateful for that moment. But I didn't want to be like having it constantly and
Like
that
you
to be
didn't
part
want
of my
to
life.
depend on that.
Yeah, I mean, because I need to like heal myself.
Yeah.
I don't need to suppress one symptom.
Yeah.
So the healing needs to understand why is this happening?
Exactly.
You know, what have I done, you know? And then I met some friends like Vinita who talked about self-healing and people from the Health Awareness Center, or I started reading books about it, and then I understood that you know, what's happening, what's the impact of dairy, or what's the impact of sugar, or what's the impact of wheat, you know. Or basically then I learned that having foods which are natural, so body can digest them and it doesn't create more toxins, because that's what I understood. There's a book called Toxemia which says that all these fancy names, when we say bronchitis, so bronchitis is, itis means inflammation.
Okay.
So all the
like
names like
arthritis,
spondylitis, you know, tonsillitis, sinusitis, rheumatitis,
so
you know,
itis is inflammation.
inflammation.
in
So
that
basically
area.
all these fancy names are nothing but like कि वहाँ पे कह रहे हैं कि जी इन्फ्लेमेशन हो रही है उस एरिया की, ब्रोंकियोल्स की इन्फ्लेमेशन है तो ब्रोंकाइटिस बोल दिया, अल्सर में है तो अल्सराइटिस हो गया, कोलॉन में है तो कोलाइटिस हो गया. So then I realized that, and the book said that there's only one disease, which is toxemia, that accumulation of toxins, which means that my body is not able to process the toxins that I'm taking and not to throw out, because any living system is going to take energy, consume fuel and give waste. So there has to be this cycle of, you know, energy, food, energy, waste, you know, and sunlight, everything. So this was getting accumulated, and when it's accumulated, my body has to find some way or the other, and it chose my lungs. And when it was taking those toxins out, then there would be inflammation would happen, and which means the swelling would happen inside.
So the alveoli would
Alveoli,
get swollen.
or the bronchioles, you know, in that those would get
which
swollen.
would make it difficult for
Because when there's, because the lungs is basically is a sponge with like an air bag.
Yeah.
But if the skin becomes swollen, then the space for the air is much less. So even if you try to breathe, there is no space where the breath can go inside. You know. So then I learnt about different things and tried, you know, my own healing methods, and then, you know, Vinita and all. You know, I learnt about self healing. I got into fasting also, and then I would fast for 5 days, and so it worked for that asthma part. After 2-3 days, I would notice that my body would throw out phlegm, and then more things would come out, and then suddenly when it throws out phlegm after 2 days, then my lungs will start getting clear, and then I would start getting up. But it was still straining on me. I was still doing some kind of a therapy with fasting, you know. I need to understand that why is it happening that even this gets accumulated. And then the things that I learned from THAC and all that, in your day-to-day life, you know, your lifestyle is such that the things that you are doing, you don't need all these fixes, you know. You don't need all these pathies, whether it's naturopathy or urine therapy or whatever, you know. It's not very natural, because if I'm going by natural laws, I shouldn't be needing all these things, and that's another direction that it started for me.
Wow. And so you were sharing that, you know, you stopped having wheat and dairy and all of these things. So then, like, what were you having, and how were you?
Yeah, people have an impression that, oh, if you don't eat wheat or don't eat dairy, poor guys, you're not eating anything, you know. So I was having more variety. I was having other millets, you know.
And for how long did you like not eat any grain or any?
Grain also, when I consulted THAC that time, I was suggested to not have any grain. So for 1 year, I didn't eat any grain.
So by grains, you mean like no millets, no rice,
no fancy millets, and this,
no
you know,
bajra,
jawar, bajra, ragi, and that
wheat,
people get really
nothing.
turned on by that, you know. So because I saw that they were heavier on my system, and anything that is difficult to digest, it would create toxins, and those toxins would create a problem. So the other alternative was moong dal ka chila. So I can have steamed vegetables. I used to carry my steamer, because I was also having a lifestyle where I was traveling a lot. So and I realized that if that's my life, I need to adjust my life according to it. Like if a blind person, they learn how to live with that blindness. But that doesn't mean I don't care. I have to do more effort. So I was carrying steamer. Not just that, I was gifting steamers to so many of my friends. So then after some time, when I went to their house, there was a steamer there. So, and then I would go to places where I could access food, I could buy food or whatever, or I could be arranged. So my one standard diet was steamed vegetables and maybe some sprouts in it, and I soak the dal, moong dal, which becomes like a sprout, and make a chila with that, and some tahini or peanut butter. So and some salad, anything raw. So that I can live with this for 1 year fully. I don't have any problems.
Wow.
Every day I can have moong dal chila.
Wow.
Because it's a substitute
and what
for me.
was how did you feel with respect to your asthma after this 1 year?
After this 1 year, it was really much better, and then I could start seeing. Basically, I could start seeing as you say, karmic connection. I could see my action and reaction. The input that I put, the result that's gonna give, and it doesn't take too many years to get that. Of course, in years also things happen, because when you are young, your body has a capacity. Again, we have 2 lungs, we can manage with 1. We have 2 kidneys, we can manage with 1. So body has given that extra capacity. So that's why when we are abusing it so much, we are able to still deal with it. But then a point comes. So when I could see that if I indulge, I have a samosa or maybe a puri or wheat in the form, which I would like to do once in a while, but then I would see my breathing would become heavier. I had to take a hot water bottle or something like that. Or if I had too oily food and things like that, and if I didn't sleep for some days, till 3 o'clock I'm working, or if there's an emotional stress where, especially one stress in my asthma was there when I'm not able to express myself, and that's where I got into non-violent communication also, because that really helped me. So I could then have difficult conversations with people or take care of myself, empathize with myself. So I was not carrying too much load inside me.
Yeah.
So that was also something.
Wow. So recently I was also watching this ad by Cipla, which was starring this chef, I'm forgetting his name, and Neena Gupta, and they were talking about that, I think Vikas Khurana is his name, I'm not sure. But anyway, so there was this line in which he said that people should be really listen to their doctors, and then really inhalers has to become part of your daily routine. And of course it's an advertisement by Cipla, so that's what they're selling. I get that, but then is it what do you have to say about becoming dependent, since you have not been taking inhalers?
So what I understand is they have steroids in them, and steroids is suddenly bring in some hormones which help your healing in that moment.
So it's actually not healing, it's just helping.
It's a temporary
you.
relief. It's temporary relief in that moment. After the effect of the inhaler is gone.
Yeah.
Sometimes it also happens that you do take inhaler in the beginning, when moment you have an onset of any allergy or anything, and then it just subsides. But in my experience, it didn't really help me, as a long-term thing. And I didn't want to be dependent on it. I didn't want to be going to places and then depending on a company for my breath. That was my thing, that I don't want to be dependent on anything. And I was trying other things, and it was really painful, to go out in the nature and then not able to walk. I used to go in Bombay in the RA colony, and it would be a struggle. And then I would say, why I can't even breathe, And then I would be angry at my own self and my past, and it didn't happen in a go. It went on, and for even after change my lifestyle, it would still come once in a while, and then I would say, oh, how long will I have it? I used to stay awake in the night till 3-4 o'clock, and then sometimes I would end up taking an inhaler. But the interesting part is that what I heard from Vijaya Venkat also, that Dr. Vijaya Venkat, that if your frequency, time and duration, frequency, duration and intensity, if these 3 things are changing, that means we are moving towards healing. So my frequency started happening less. It would be earlier in 3 months, then it happened in 8 months. Or the intensity, if it happened sometimes, then I would do some minor care or start taking my precautions, then it would go away. Or the impact would happen, my healing, even if I did fasting, it would happen much earlier. But that's what I learned from the fact that I could be eating foods like fruits and things like that, and my system would be clear. I don't have to like really suffer my system for that. And yeah, so it took like, it's taken around 12, 13 or 14 years for me to finally. So yeah, I'm telling people that if you are abusing a body, it might take many years. And I remembered this line that every 7 years the body changes. I used to say, when will my whole lungs will change, you know? Yeah, it just doesn't happen in like a miracle, but slowly as you start seeing. So this is what I'm saying, that when people are getting into any kind of healing journey, it takes time, and the indicator that they can assess whether they are moving towards it is that if they can see their frequency of the illness, the intensity and the duration, whether it is shifting or not, whether it is getting less. So even if it gets less, you are wee bit moving towards your healing, you know. So yeah.
Wow. So I think it has been 15 years since you've been, walking this path of wellness and following these things and taking care of your asthma and other issues. So how does it feel in your body, in your emotional body and physical body?
Yeah, I feel really fortunate that it's like even if you abuse your body is so smart that it teaches you, it like pins you down and says shut up, and you know. So I got that, and because of that, my whole life has changed. You know, what I'm doing right now, what I'm offering people is all connected to food and wellness, and I have this habit that whenever I notice something exciting, even if I have learned juggling, I want to teach people who are around me to learn juggling. So I get after them, you know. So instead of me doing juggling, I start teaching more often. So it's the idea is behind that is to share it. So even if we have NVC conventions where there are 100 people, I would be handling the kitchen, where trying to really care for my community. If there's a Learning Sri Lanka conference where there are again 400 people for 6 days, I would be designing the kitchen.
So that's also the reason behind that you studied in FTI and then you went back to volunteer there for 2 years and run their kitchen.
So which is like very unusual. It doesn't happen, but people were enjoying it. So basically, because of that learning that happened, because of the my whole illness gave me a different path, and it showed me that this is maybe one of the offerings that I have, you know. And because I also so much value. And one more thing I want to say, that my mother, when I was in class 10, she had Parkinson's, and her body was deteriorating, and more as her body was deteriorating, I would see her being disempowered physically, even as a support systems, and even her recognition in the family. And she was, so I had seen that thing, and something I learned much later, that this is why I got so much into this, because I had seen it so closely, how her downfall. And it's not that death doesn't happen to people, you know, but when I realized that she could have had so much other things, and her body, her healing could have been different path if we had that knowledge. So having that knowledge now, and I'm grateful to whatever came to me at the right time. It could have come in a much more serious way at a later stage. So my body's wisdom taught me this, and then I got into this journey, and I learned so much, and it's improved my health in general, my energy level. You know, it's not about illness. You know, so having about wellness is not like absence of illness is not wellness. But today, when I eat well, when I take care of myself, that day I am from 6 o'clock to 11 o'clock in the night. If I'm engaged, my body is like, you know, is alive. You know, whether I'm doing my yoga or doing other things. So.
And you feel less tired.
I feel less tired. I feel that I'm grateful that my body taught me and took me on this path, and which is giving me a certain quality of life, and not just me and the people around me and my community, and
and I think that was also the vision behind starting Ahimsa Gram, especially the food business that we do, because we were like really struggling. I remember wherever we would go to eat, you know, and the first thing we would ask, like, what oil do you use and what grain are you using and all of that. So it also, because we were not getting it anywhere, and as it says that, you know, if nobody's doing it, then like it's like, and it's not solving your problem, then you have to do it yourself. So that's how we started our cafe and a cloud kitchen. and we started making desserts because of my mental health that I shared in the first part of the episode, that when I used to like really crave for sweets and I would not get it anywhere, and even if I would get it, then they were like really playing on my health, you know, like. And I also sometimes have a lot of anger for these companies and these places because they're really making money over our illness, like you know, which is really sad, despite knowing, like, you know, like as you said for your cigarettes also, like does ITC, does it know that what all goes into making a cigarette and things like that. So or how bad white sugar is, and it's no different than cocaine. So all of these things also makes me a bit angry, and we are grateful that, you know, we have this learning, and we started making all these things at Instagram. So it was great talking and listening to your story, Shami, and we look forward to having you in our next episode, and which would be Sunday. So I think we would be releasing one episode every Sunday in the morning, and you can join us over breakfast. And yeah, please leave your questions in the comments if you have any regarding what all we have shared, and we would love to answer that.
And also your reflections and insights that come to you when you hear us. So you're welcome to share that also.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Thank
Great.
you.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.
छोटे स्लो होगा तो जल्दी जल्दी हो जाएंगे.
चेक कर लेते हैं.